Support for today's episode comes from Amazon. Amazon is working toward a carbon free energy future, doing more with less, investing where it matters most, and supporting communities where we operate. Offshore wind's vessel gap threatens project schedules. An offshore wind turbine delivered to port is still years of planning away from becoming an operating asset. Its components have to be staged somewhere with enough space and bearing capacity, then installed by a vessel with the crane height, lifting capacity, and water depth rating the job requires. As turbines grow larger, the number of ships able to do that work is narrowing. That constraint is distinct from the broader project cargo market, although the two are tightening at the same time. At Breakbulk Europe in Rotterdam this June, D-Ship Carrier CEO Lars Feller said the company's 6 new D500 multi-purpose vessels, each roughly 15,000 deadweight tons with two 250-ton cranes for 500 tons of combined lifting capacity, were already contracted for several years, with some fixed a full year before delivery. The ships, due for handover between mid-2026 and the end of 2027, can move heavy equipment for wind, oil, and gas, and other energy infrastructure projects broadly, but they are not turbine installation vessels. Their early bookings still illustrate how aggressively energy developers are reserving marine logistics capacity generally, even if they say nothing directly about installation vessel supply. Project cargo vessels are being contracted before delivery. Geodis Senior Vice President Luke Mace, on the same panel, gave a sense of scale energy buyers often underestimate. A single client is moving 14,000 battery energy storage system units in one country next year. Panelists generally identified wind and oil and gas as the strongest sources of project cargo volume through 2029, with data center and battery storage logistics climbing fast enough that no one on the panel discounted them. That points to broad-based competition for shipping capacity across energy infrastructure, not a documented shortage of the specialized ships that actually install offshore turbines. A documented shortage, separate from the cargo vessel squeeze. The offshore wind installation market is a narrower, more specialized one. Wind Europe has identified potential shortages of both foundation installation vessels and wind turbine installation vessels, with demand expected to be most acute between 2028 and 2030. Reuters has reported that specialized offshore wind vessels are already scarce and commonly booked years in advance. In the United States, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, NR, estimated that 4 to 6 turbine installation vessels would have been needed to support the federal government's former 30-gigawatt offshore wind target. The challenge is not simply how many ships exist. Much of the nominal global fleet is either concentrated in China or technically unsuited to the larger turbine classes now entering project pipelines, short on the crane height and lifting capacity the newest designs require. Turbines are outgrowing the ports that stage them. Vessels are only part of the constraint. Peel Port's COO David Huck told the Rotterdam panel that blade lengths currently handled at most major ports run 80 to 85 meters and are heading toward 130 to 140 meters within 5 years, with some ports already trialing 130-meter blades. But blades are long, not heavy, and Huck's larger point concerned quay-bearing capacity generally. The concentrated loads from nacelles, tower sections, foundations, cranes, and self-propelled modular transporters are pushing quay ratings from roughly 20 tons per square meter toward 40 or 50 tons per square meter to qualify for major contracts. He said major port redevelopment can require roughly 7 years of planning and construction, evaluated against business horizons that can extend 25 years. Germany's offshore wind industry has separately warned of a potential shortage of up to 200 hectares of heavy load-capable port space by 2029, with Dutch and Danish ports facing similar pressure from their own project pipelines. New vessel orders are not closing every capacity gap. New vessel concepts are emerging to address specific pieces of the installation chain. An Ulstein concept has been designed around installing foundations weighing as much as 8,000 tons, and Havfram's NG2000X jackup class is being marketed for turbines with rotor diameters exceeding 300 meters and monopiles up to roughly 3,000 tons. Specialized installation vessels generally take several years from firm order to delivery. A South Korean turbine installation vessel, reportedly ordered in February 2026, isn't expected until the first half of 2028. But these are additions to distinct, narrow fleets: foundation vessels, jackup installation vessels, and the multi-purpose cargo ships discussed above, rather than a single pool that new orders can simply top up. A handful of new ships in one category does not resolve a shortage in another. Cargo transport, turbine installation, foundation work, and port staging are separate constraints, each running on its own timeline. The sequencing implication is more integrated than book the ship early. Turbine selection determines hub height, rotor diameter, nacelle weight, and foundation design, which in turn determine which vessels and ports can actually handle the job. So a project developed without confirming vessel and port compatibility alongside turbine choice can still reach financial close with no ship capable of completing construction on schedule. Turbine procurement, foundation design, port selection, and vessel contracting can no longer be managed as sequential work streams. They increasingly need to be worked out together before final investment decision. That mirrors a broader pattern already visible elsewhere in energy development, where projects built around a single supplier, site, or sequence are proving more exposed than those planned with contingencies from the outset. And it is consistent with how European utilities are approaching large infrastructure commitments more broadly. Locking in control over a scarce upstream input early is becoming as important as the capital behind the project itself. Sustainability Soundbites energy coverage is sponsored by Amazon. Visit the link in our show notes to learn more about Amazon's spotlight on energy. For sponsorship opportunities with Environment and Energy Leader, please reach out to a member of our team.